Welcome to the Badger Beer Report podcast. I am your host, Greg Washington. This is a special one because normally we record remotely for our podcasts. I had the privilege to talk to Missy Martens at Copper State Brewing in Green Bay. And it was a fascinating conversation that happened impromptu. I showed up for a scheduled visit early in the morning, and Missy and I just started talking and hit it off. And I asked her to, let's just record our conversation because it was interesting. So what y'all are about to hear is what transpired after I asked her nicely for an impromptu podcast interview, and she accepted. And yeah, so that's what happened, and you're about to hear that. It's about 32 minutes where we cover the origin of Copper State, the daily workings of Copper State, and how family and community are the central hub for that brewery, and how beer kind of is not. I mean, even though it is. And there's also a coffee shop involved. And it's a really fun story that I will stop talking now and let y'all hear. Hey, y'all. I'm sitting at Copper State Tap Room with owner Missy Martens. And, well, John Martens is here, too. They are a family-owned brewery. Of course, most of our breweries are. But they're family-run, too. So we're going to get to that. But I want to thank Missy for coming on our podcast and just giving a quick impromptu while I'm here. So thanks, Missy. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing well. Thanks for having me.
Great. Copper State is one that I've been to probably, 5 years ago when I I think it might have even been, no, it can't be 10 because y'all haven't been open for 10.
Correct.
But so it was definitely 5, and then I guess it was pre-pandemic, so it wasn't after the pandemic. And love the whole beer and coffee angle that I walked into. So you want to talk about, did you roll that out together? Did the coffee come later? Or, what's, and then, that leads into, the theory and the philosophy of Copper State as a whole.
Yeah. I'll give you the backstory on that because we were actually living in the Twin Cities, and I had grown up in this area, sort of like Manitowoc area. My siblings still live around this area, mostly Appleton. So my sister and brother-in-law own the Copper Coffee Companies in Appleton. So they have 2 coffee shops in Appleton, and they had been looking to get into the area of Green Bay, had seen a few spaces, and nothing was quite the right fit. Hinterland was in our building before we were, and they were quietly selling this building because they had gotten the tap on the shoulder from the Packers to be a tenant at their new Titletown district right by the stadium. So they were kind of quietly selling this building, and their realtor knew that my brother-in-law had been looking to get into the area with a coffee shop. So he showed Bill this space, and Bill was like, "This is awesome, but it shouldn't just be a coffee shop. It's got the full kitchen, it's got all this brewing equipment, all this tank space, and we can't do that alone if we're going to try to make this a coffee shop and something else." So that's when he called us. We were living in the Twin Cities, like I said, and my husband was a mechanical engineer, had brewed 0 batches of beer in his life, and Bill was like, "John, you should be a brewmaster." And we're like, "Yeah, it seems like something that we could do." We had 4 small kids at the time. We didn't get out much. Neither of us were super passionate about beer. I was homeschooling the kids. But John was kind of ready for a change. He was doing heating and cooling in downtown St. Paul and was not very fulfilled in that. He liked engineering, but he likes growth and movement and a challenge, and none of that really was a challenge for him. So it was kind of a fun opportunity to partner with my sister and brother-in-law and a few others at the beginning. So we were a bigger group at the beginning. We've since bought everyone else out. But we bought the whole space before he ever brewed a single batch of beer. And then
That's a way to start a brewery, y'all. That's certainly a way to start a brewery.
It's a way for maximum adventure. And we couldn't even tell anyone for about a full year because we had to sign a non-disclosure with the Packers as well. So we actually bought the space October of 2015. And went back to Minnesota, and he had to work for a full year there and not tell anyone we had just bought a brewery. But there were signs, we had bought a homebrew kit. Mm-hmm. He was trying to make beer at home. All our friends were like, "What's this sudden interest in beer?" Yeah,
so you used that year, or you used that time that you knew you had as a built-in, basically boot camp for John.
Right, but he couldn't tell his boss, right? So he was still doing the engineering thing, and we were starting to make some plans on the side and start to brew a few beers. We moved here in July of 2016. The cool part about the whole thing was we were super flexible with Hinterland's move-out date because they had to brew here until the day they moved to their new spot. And they, in turn, then gave John an apprenticeship here, basically, with their brewmasters. So he was able to learn to brew beer on this equipment, but brew their beer. And, we had bought the space, they were renting it back from us, and that's kind of how we were able to start.
That's really fun. That's fun. That's fun.
different than normal, but he was, we bought into a system. It was like a 30-barrel brew system already with a ton of tank space, a canning line already in the building.
And that was my first note to you, was like, wow, this is a bigger operation than I thought. And then Missy was really nicely and wonderfully gently said, hey, remember, this was the old Hinterland brewery. And I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was not building from the ground up. It was buying into, drinking from a fire hose, to be honest. So we did put in a 3-barrel pilot system right away so that John could do experimental batches of things and not always have to do 1,000 gallons,
and then
100
feel
gallons.
that pressure. Right. Feel that pressure of making sure that has to be good if it's going to be that quantity of beer.
Right. So the ability to try and we still brew a lot on that. We have usually 10 or so beers that are staying on full time, and then 4, 5, 6 pilot brews that are coming on and off from the pilot system.
Well, that's definitely a fun origin story. So then, what I'm trying to probe for you now is, because we talked a little bit before we hit the record. So how you homeschooled, and how does the homeschooling work in with building a brewery basically from scratch outside of the wonderful building that you had really good chops to start. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Most brewers don't have that kind of push, but most brewers, respectfully, have brewed a whole bunch before they bought a brewery.
Right.
Right. So this is interesting here.
Turns out engineers make good beer. It's all process driven. He loves spreadsheets so much. It's a repeatable process and a lot of science involved. So, and John actually upgraded our heat exchanger and the whole glycol chiller system, because those types of things that you do can make your beer much more fresh and not pick up any off flavors, because you can cool it faster, etc. So engineering actually has a lot of carryover into the beer world. So, and he's just kind of, he's always, I married him, I had a lot of car trouble in college. He's always just been able to fix things. And
we see a lot of engineers, move into brewing, chemical, mechanical, and it's just that science. And I recently spoke to a brewer, I won't name him, but I recently spoke to a brewer who has no science background, and he's like, hey man, I'm kind of winging it out here. And that's kind of, I think that's the minority, as opposed to the majority, which is chemical people and science people. So, and then as far as if you have another,
I didn't finish the homeschool part, but
no. We're going there. My bad.
Yeah, that was and we had homeschooled for a few years in Minnesota. I think when we moved here, our oldest was 9 and our youngest was 4. So we have 4 kids, and now they're 18 down to 13. But they've really grown up in the brewery. They've helped us countless times. Some days were math at the bar, and some days is a canning run, and some days is cooking in the kitchen. And now that they're all a little older, they're all cooks and or hosts and or expos, food runners. So they all know the industry pretty well. But at the beginning, it's just a lot of.
What are the current age ranges?
18, 16. Oh, excuse me, you just turned 17. 18, 17, 15, and 13.
Oh, wow. Okay. So we're actually moving into a groove here. And, I shout out to the homeschoolers, because I am one. And also shout out to, family, owned businesses where the kids are involved. I feel that that's less and less going forward. It used to definitely be a thing where, whether he liked it or not, the son would inherit, the father's business. Right. But it sounds like y'all are happy, the kids like it, and we give our kids more latitude, I believe, these days than our parents did. But we're not going to go on that. But my point is that I just love the idea of having the kids grow up in the business, and they may not necessarily end up at Copper State. In fact, probably all 4 of them probably won't. But those skills that they get from that, and that is really the homeschool thing. It has nothing to do with your brewery, as far as I'm concerned. It's that work ethic that they get, just being around and seeing mom and dad do this, and going through those kind of struggles. Because again, I know y'all can't hide, some of the tougher things that have happened here. You know what I mean? And that's his life, though. That's not business owner life. That's his parenting life.
It remains to be seen if any of them will stick with the industry or if they will run far from it, because they've seen aspects of it, right?
Absolutely.
They've been the ones to suffer if people don't show up.
Right.
Because we then always have to show up.
Right.
So they understand all sides. But our oldest talks about maybe joining or taking over at some point. But we kind of want him to do something else for a bit.
Right.
Like he's only ever worked here since he was 9. So it's like
right.
maybe try something else and maybe
we got to make sure you want this. We don't want to be pushing things. We want to make sure that this is something that you want for yourself.
Right.
Because you still have your life.
And we've tried the business with family. Like I said, we started this with a lot more owners, and we have since bought everyone else out in 2021. Now it's just me and John, which has been so much better. And by the grace of God, all the relationships have been preserved. Yeah. But we warn our kids about that. Like, it's hard to be in business with extended family.
Right. So, and then you and John get full control of, everything, so then it's just, it becomes a thing between y'all two. Right, as opposed to, making phone calls and all that. So I definitely, I'm happy for y'all for that. That's good. So, I just mentioned, some of the harder things that as a family you have to face during a business. And one of the things that I know about y'all is that y'all have, had a car come into your brewery, literally. And I remember, this was recent too, because we were Badger Beer Report.
Just about a year ago, last October.
We were Badger Beer Hour, I think at that point, but going to report. But the point is that we had a really big internal conversation about y'all. And I was like, wow, is there anything we can do to help? But if you would love to explain that situation for people who don't know, it was fascinating from afar. I'm sure it was very frustrating.
Yeah, I mean, it was like a Monday night at 9:30, and John and I were actually home, but 3 of our kids were here cooking that night. They were working. So John was getting a phone call from our oldest while I was getting a phone call from one of our servers that, hey, someone just drove into the building. I'm like, wait, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, most of the building is brick, so and cement. Like, but they hit the one spot, which was probably good because the driver was fine, but he smashed straight into the brew house glass and just missed our kettle and one of the fermenters. It was crazy because there was a little cement footing that they hit that, and a big chunk flew off and landed right in the middle and didn't hit anything else either. So none of the tanks were damaged, none of the brewing system was damaged. So that was great. It was really just the whole facade that needed to be replaced, but which took 6 months.
Yeah, and I would assume that insurance.
It just took that
right. So it was So it was more, and then the driver was fine. And then what was his story?
Drugs and alcohol were
involved. Okay. There has to be a story behind that. We can leave it. Yep. We can leave it at that. And actually,
forgot to turn as much as he should have turned.
Okay, and then y'all could probably look up news articles on this, so we don't have to go that deep.
The camera footage from inside was pretty amazing. That passed through the staff for a while and friends, of course, because it was just so loud and crazy. But
look for that, y'all. Look for that online.
Yeah.
Anyway, go on.
So
I haven't seen it, but once we're done here, I'm gonna go and it's gonna happen.
John and I were at home with our youngest, who is 13, and we were, but he was 12 at the time, and we he was like, I want to see. So then he drove in with us, of course, and which was helpful because he's smaller and can fit under the tanks to sweep the glass. So we were here till 2 in the morning to just get it boarded up and so that we could continue with business. But we didn't, none of the business was interrupted except for, we were still able to brew. Okay. Yeah, it was really just clean up and fix up stuff.
So it wasn't like the inside was exposed outside.
Correct. It was just plywood for a while.
Okay.
And we named a beer, the one that was in that tank that just was inches from getting damaged.
Here we go, y'all. Here we go.
We named a beer Oatmeal Deductible. So that was our oatmeal stout that was in that one.
So 2 things here. Number 1, can you want to, we're upstairs here, and I just feel rustic and old and history. So I don't know if you want to speak to the building that y'all in, because obviously we're here as far as that goes. And then also, we'll get to the next question, and I got it.
Yeah, this building, like I said, before us it was Hinterland for about 22 years. They were the ones that turned it into a restaurant and a brewery. But this building actually has been here since 1919. It was originally built as a meat packing plant. Swift Meats. So we were told, there was a guy that came in and he was 80-something, and he said his dad worked here and it was Swift Meats, and he was remembering going up and down on the freight elevator, which we still have. It's original to the building. And there were chickens on the top floor, and they had hanging slabs of beef downstairs, like where our main bar is. There's still holes in the tracks in the ceiling. You can see where they would hang the meat and stuff. We cleaned up.
Excellent.
It's a cool old concrete and brick building with cozy nooks all over.
Yeah,
cool big fireplace area.
When I came in, I definitely noted to you about the attention to detail that y'all have, either built on what Hinderland had or switched out. I love your logo. I love the vibe. I love everything about it. So it's great. I came in and looked at the merch and I was like, that's great. And then
Don't
when
skip on the details.
Yeah, when you go to enough breweries, you start to you probably already know. You start to catch an eye on all kinds of things, whether it be sharp details, whether it be the merch section, just everything is just very well, I feel, thought out here. And so one of the things that we were talking about right before we did it, or we started the recording, was that you named the beers here, not the brewer.
Yeah,
is that
correct? John and I have very separate skill sets. He is very engineer and numbers minded, and I do all the words. So he kind of allows me free rein to name everything and to write. Like I get to write all the beer descriptions. I do the social media blogs on our website and that kind of stuff. And actually writing a book that I'm wanting to release on our 10-year anniversary, I think.
Look at that. Is this breaking news here? Can we talk about it?
Oh, sure. I think I'm about 3/4 done. It's not like a chronological step-by-step book, but it's more, like there's a chapter about when the guy ran into our building, and there's a...
Oh, so this is a Copper State
memoir
book
of sorts.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
like
kind of a...
Fun.
With some kind of, poignant things on leadership and running a business, and some fun stories. And we've just had our share of crazy stories with cooks we've had, and with other employees, and with random, There's a chapter called "That Time We Were Sued by the Crazy Ukrainian Dishwasher." Like, there's just a lot of stories you can come up with when you're running a restaurant and a brewery. So I think they need to be told.
Excellent. And is this, obviously when you're writing a book or something, there's certain things that you can't say. Can we say when it's going to come out, or what's the, is there a timeline?
My timeline plan is we'll turn 10 in June of 2027. So we opened 2017.
Yep.
So a year and a half from now, I would love to release it for our 10-year anniversary, like have a big party. And just like, I don't have crazy high hopes for this book to go whatever. I just want to be able to sell it in our brewery and have it recorded for our kids and
Amen.
And have some of the stories out.
Right.
You forget so fast, and it's almost like you should have kept a journal throughout the time it's there, but that's my youngest.
Speaking of, does he need to?
He's probably looking for Dad to write. He ride to practice.
Okay, yeah, he gave a look and didn't see what he wanted, so he just moved on. Yeah. So back to the book real quick. So is there a working title for it?
Working title is potentially "Start a Brewery." They said it'll be fun. They said something like that.
And then I'm just envisioning your wonderful logo in the back or something. And are you going to be on the front of it?
I don't know yet.
Do you want to be on the front of it?
I don't know. We'll see.
Okay.
The guy that helps design a lot of our labels I'm going to sit with him, and we're going to talk about. He's going to.
Okay, so we're not at that stage.
Design and stuff, but.
Okay.
Right now, I'm just in the writing stage.
As you can see, I'm thoroughly intrigued. So I will be. Yeah, I'll be bugging you about a year. I'll be like, what's up, Missy? What's up with that book? Because I'm interested. Now I'll be buying it. But I just love that idea, and I would love to. I want to promote it as an idea for. Again, just brewers. It doesn't necessarily, it's not, it's probably not going to be some New York Times bestseller. You're not doing it for that reason. You're doing it for the history and the community that is involved and that y'all make with your breweries. The best breweries are community for me. I'm preaching here and I don't care. The best breweries are community. So on some level, yes, it's your private business and y'all run it the way you want. But on some level, y'all are community, and I don't know how much y'all want to take ownership.
That's a very big level for us. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, neither of us had brewing experience. Like I said, neither of us had restaurant experience. Mm-hmm. Neither of us even are super passionate about craft beer. If we're going to be very honest, like I've grown to appreciate it, but I don't drink a lot of beer, and neither does John. He's a runner. Like he's probably the skinniest brewmaster you'll ever meet. Mm-hmm. But we love the community part and the bringing people together part. That's what we love. So our mission statement, which I got to write at the beginning, is connecting people, creating experiences, crafting great beer. So the beer's on there, but it's third. We love to bring people together here, whether it's over coffee or food or beer, all the above. And so we're a gathering space for the city of Green Bay that comes here.
Yeah, and that, yeah, and that is just so great. And one of the things that I kind of harp on, and listeners to Badger Beer Report will know this, is that I believe it's community, and I believe breweries should be welcome to everyone in their community. For the most part, unless you come in and cause some problems and we have to, usher you out. But outside of that, I love when breweries are just open in community. And breweries aren't bars, y'all. Breweries are family spaces. And for y'all who don't like, and I'm preaching here, y'all who don't like, and this isn't Missy, this is me. Missy can give her own comments, but I'm not talking for her. Y'all don't like kids in breweries, y'all need to go to a bar, respectfully. Okay, because you won't find kids there. All right, got it. Now again, I understand.
Our kids live here, so
yeah. And we're parents, so we understand. We ain't letting our kids run wild at another brewery. I know you certainly never did that, being a brewery owner, and I never did that as someone who frequents that. Yeah. But my point is that breweries are family spots. They are community spots. They are gathering places. So I mean, even if
have very few TVs in our space, we're not a sports bar. We're not a.
It's the only one, right?
We have one in the downstairs bar and one here.
Okay.
But most of the tables, you don't have access to seeing.
Right, and they're not prominent, if that makes sense. In fact, I didn't even remember seeing the one downstairs.
Right. And I'm even toying around with some fun little challenges to have the families and the friends put their phone in a box. There's things I'm trying to I'm wording right now to put at the tables.
So you sound like
different phone challenges so that people can just put down the devices.
Yeah.
Not have their kids just be on devices.
Amen.
And gather.
Amen. You sound like one of those no cell phones at the kitchen table people.
Oh, we definitely are.
And how did I know that? Because I'm one too.
Our kids don't get a phone till they're 16, so.
Yeah, it was late for us too. But we were able to, again, having that homeschool flexibility, was able to, if they weren't in homeschool, I probably would have, bent it before.
You feel more pressure.
Yeah, I would have been earlier than that. But I was like, no, y'all don't need cell phones. No.
Until they drive.
And in fact, I'm not trying to pay for, and I'm not trying to pay for y'all's 3 gigabyte, whatever. So anyway, now we pay though. You know how that goes. But no. So I really enjoyed my time here. It was impromptu, and I don't want to take any more of your time, Missy. So if there's anything else, so tell everybody where we can find. We can find Badger State here in Green Bay. Here, is this the east side? I'm so unfamiliar with.
We are the west side.
West side, my bad. So, within shouting distance of Titletown, if y'all are familiar with that. In fact, I even took a picture. I got a wide-angle picture of the proximity of y'all two that I wanted to post just to say, hey, y'all, for people who aren't familiar with Green Bay, people who are Green Bay know that y'all are just right there. But people who are unfamiliar with Green Bay don't. I think people outside of Green Bay know Titletown more than they know Copper State.
Right. Titletown's been here for 20-some years, but Copper State.
29.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're 30th this next year.
So we are right across the street from them, which some people are like, is that, when we were first moving in, people would be asking, is that competition rate? I mean, you're thinking of craft brewing wrong. I think it's generally more of all of us craft breweries versus the big guys.
It is.
So we try. We're happy when another brewery opens up in Green Bay because it's bringing people to Green Bay as a craft beer destination, and then they come to both. So most people that come down, if they see, there's two right next to each other right downtown, let's park at one, we'll go to both, and we see that a lot. And we love that. So it's a very community-oriented business.
Absolutely.
Within relationships with all of the brewers in town.
Yeah, community within your community and community within your colleagues, professional colleagues.
Yeah, they always are. There's a text thread going around all the time with who's got this many pounds of this kind of malt? I'm out and I got to do the brew tomorrow. And people will run stuff over, or we'll split a whole truckload of blank cans so we can get a cheaper price for it. And there's all these things that are happening all the time throughout the.
Yeah, and I think where a lot of this comes from is just sometimes the very cutthroat nature of business in America. So then people just assume that the craft beer is kind of like that. If that makes sense.
And my brother-in-law will say that the coffee industry is more cut. It's more hush hush. You're not telling each other your secrets of where you're finding these ROI estate beans or whatever. But beer is how'd you guys get your beer to get out so clear for this one or whatever? People are trying each other's and we're all just telling each other try this. I found this new product here. Check this out. And it's just much more collaborative.
Yeah, and I have to know, one of the first things I said to Missy when I saw her was that leading up to this, y'all probably know, if y'all follow Badger Beer Report, y'all know that I was, I've been traveling around for a couple days. And one of the things that, that really was impressive about Copper State was the fact that the college, some of the people that I talked to said really nice things about y'all as people. It wasn't really even about the beer or the building or the space. It was just like, they're nice people to deal with. They're nice people to correspond with, and they're, a good part of their community. Now, I'm filling in some of that, in there. That wasn't the exact quote, but there were just definitely quotes. And also, like I said, there was people saying, hey, man, you got to go there for the food, which I love brewery food. I'm trying to only eat at breweries this trip. So I had to go get a good breakfast this morning, because the hotel breakfast was not it. But that aside,
Did you get a wood-fired burger made by my son for lunch today?
Yeah, I might be. Yeah, you never know. That sounds really good. But yeah, Copper State food, y'all, is just as good as the coffee. Missy made me a nice latte, which was excellent. So there's that angle. I actually haven't had any beer yet, and I already know I'm a fan, so it's fine. But so before we get out of here, so let's talk about coffee real quick, if you don't mind.
Sure.
So y'all started is the coffee shop, is that separate of?
So we are all
Copper
one
State
now. So at the beginning, it was two separate businesses, like renting from the same building, and we learned early on that just was slight brand confusion, and we had to have two POSs so people couldn't order coffee with their dinner. They had to go to a separate thing, and so pretty early on we bought out the coffee shop within this, so we are more like in a wholesale account now with my brother-in-law. So we get all the coffee beans still from my brother-in-law. We have a big roaster in the corner of our brewery. He still's up here once a week or so roasting beans for their locations, and then for this one as well. So it's considered Copper State all in this building, but we serve Copper Rock coffee.
Talk about the brand a little bit, the coffee brand.
Yeah, so that's my sister and brother-in-law started that year in 2003. They have two coffee shops right now in Green Bay, or in Appleton, excuse me. One right downtown Appleton and one on the north side. And so this was going to be their third location. It started out as their third location, but we, like I said, we bought all the equipment and kind of the name a little bit here in this building so that we could be all under one POS. But we're a wholesale account for them. So we buy all their beans. We serve a lot of the same drinks, but we have, like, if people are coming here thinking they have Copper Rock food, that's wrong. So sometimes people come here and think, oh, do you have this? We have our own Copper State menu, but we just have we serve the similar coffee in the morning. We serve their coffee beans.
And what's that brand again? I missed
That's
it.
Copper Rock coffee.
Copper Rock. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we call them our overly caffeinated cousin business.
Where did the name of Copper State come from?
So a little bit of, at the beginning, again, we kind of wanted some crossover with the Copper Rock, but we couldn't be Copper Rock Brewing Company. So we kind of wanted to play off of the copper still, and then we found out that Wisconsin is actually historically known as the Copper State, way before
The Badger State.
Right, and this is like BC, where there's a lot of found and flow copper in this whole area, and up through Oconto and into Michigan is all the old copper complex, it's called. So historically, there was a lot of found and flow copper in this area. So we kind of went with that theme because we loved the state with the logo and stuff too, and the hop cone, copper hop cone. And, so it all kind of works together. So it's Copper State and Copper Rock.
It's definitely one of my favorite logos. I today it really hit me that I was like, wait, this is one of my favorite logos. Yeah. And then the way y'all, again, behind the bar and the taps, especially downstairs, that big thing that y'all have is just beautiful. So
there's ways to save money when you're starting a business, and one of those ways is to have an engineer on staff who just fixes everything himself and is the plumber and whatever. But there's things you should not skip on, and the logo is one of them. I mean, that's just, you've got to spend some money, and neither of us had that skill set. I can do words, I can't do art. So we knew we wanted to invest in a really good logo and good details throughout the building.
Yeah, well, you nailed that part for me. I'm wrapping up now, y'all, I promise. Thanks, Missy, for everything, especially this impromptu interview. Please take us out with where people can find Badger State. And then
That's it. You're fired.
So it wasn't. Listen, there is a brewery in Wisconsin. There is a brewery in Green Bay called Badger State, which all y'all know and we all love. It's cool, right? But I got Missy. I'm gonna blame this on Missy. She messed me up with the whole Copper State. Wisconsin's actually Copper State, not Badger State. She didn't say that. I said that. But I was like, I know Wisconsin has a Badger State. I've only lived here for 20 years, so I'm just like, I'm a Wisconsinite for sure, but like I still feel I'm like an implant. So then for you to tell me that, Wisconsin's actually the Copper State too and the Badger State, Bucky took over. It's fine.
Right.
We're good. We're cool with Bucky taking over. We're fine. But the fact that, historically, it's, there's a copper thread here and y'all are, honoring that, that's great. I love it. So, and, my little Freudian slip there.
No worries. Yeah, you can find Copper State it's copperstate.beer. And we're on Facebook, we're on Instagram. Just look up Copper State. You'll find us on those as well. I generally try to make real fun. Again, I love words, so I try to make fun posts and very, very real and.
Yeah, y'all have fun social media for sure. And then, so give us really quick, and then we'll get out of here. Give us really quick. What are the hours? Because you have coffee and beer,
Sure.
and I'm confused.
So we're open Monday through Saturday, closed on Sundays, but we're open by 6:30 Monday through Friday and 7 a.m. on Saturday for coffee. And we'll inevitably get some people that walk in and they're like, "Can I get a beer now?"
That was me. That was me this morning.
It depends who's here. So not all of our baristas are old enough to serve beer, but there are some that are old enough to quick pour a beer. But our tap room technically opens at 11 a.m. and that's the kitchen as well. Okay. So then food and beer by 11, and then we're kitchen's closed at 9 p.m. and bars closed by 10. So we're not a late night spot on purpose as well.
Yeah, most breweries aren't. Breweries aren't.
You can go somewhere else to finish the drinking.
Yeah, that's what we have. Yeah, absolutely. That's why we have bars. Everybody has their place, if that makes sense, and that's the time for that. For me, Missy, I'm old. That's time for bed. So I'm good.
So
I'm tired.
6:30 a.m. to about 10 p.m., but there are some caveats in there. Tap room 11 a.m.
Well, all right. Well, thanks for sharing some time with us and explaining to everybody what everything that we could possibly want to know about Copper State. But also, though, Missy told us about the book coming out, so that's going to really be everything that we need to know about Copper State. She'll be able to, you'll be able to really
Lots
get
of
those
inside scoops.
Yeah.
Have to change a few names.
And this was impromptu, y'all. So I wasn't even trying to hold Missy as long as I did, which was it says 32 minutes here. So this was excellent.
I enjoy the chat as much as you do. That's
excellent. That's great. Well, we're going to sign off on this again. Thanks, Missy. It was great.
No problem. Thank you.
Cheers, y'all. Cheers.